Hey there, do you ever get anxiety going to the grocery store? Have you ever had such bad anxiety at the store that you've had the urge to run out of there screaming? Have you ever wanted to punch someone? Guys, the last one was just a joke. But for real, if you do get anxiety going to the grocery store like I do, please, you are not alone and it is something that you can work on. I've had anxiety going to the grocery store for many years now, and at one point it got so bad that I couldn't even make it to the store. My mom had to go for me for a while. But I am proud to say that I successfully go to the store now every week and sometimes even by myself. And it's possible to overcome that. Now, I'm not saying the shopping trips are always going to be perfect, but I have learned things over the years that have helped ease my anxiety and have helped me cope better with going to the grocery store. So, I want to share these things with you guys just in case it might help someone out there. You honestly never know, so I figured why not just put it out there and see what happens. So here are 6 tips that I've learned over the years that have helped ease my anxiety when going to the grocery store. Number one, pick a store. So I know what you guys are thinking. Some people are like, I already have a store. Maybe you live in a small town and you don't have many options, or you only have one option. This tip is for people where you live in an area and you have more than one option. Please go to every single store that you have in your area and check them all out because you never know. Maybe the one that you're currently shopping at may not be the best fit for you. Maybe there's a different store that you haven't tried yet that might be more comfortable for you. Maybe you'll have a better experience there. Maybe you might want to switch stores. Number two, get comfortable in your store. Once you have your store picked, please get comfortable in it. Get familiar where all your typical items are that you shop, how the store is laid out. Keep an eye on which cashiers you like, which ones you don't. Are you a self checkout person if that's an option? Or do you prefer register with a human? Just get familiar with everything, get comfortable with things are at. So on days when you're having really bad anxiety, you're not in there frantically, trying to search for something or struggling, or, maybe you have to ask an employee for help and they're no help because I'm sure we've all encountered a grocery store employee that doesn't know what they're doing, which can make you frustrated and feel more anxious. So just get really comfortable, figure out where everything's at, take one good shopping trip and really just explore the store so you get comfortable and familiar with where everything is. I also find going through the store in the same order very helpful and eases my anxiety. So, for example, I currently shop at Fry's and I always enter the store on the far right side where the produce section is. And then I always work from that section left through the store as based on what's on my list. And this is really helpful because when I'm having really bad anxiety, I don't exactly think clearly. So sometimes it's nice to just be able to, without thinking about it, go through my routine. So have you ever, gotten off work and you're stressed or you have a lot on your mind or you're feeling anxious and you get in your car and you drive home and you make it home and you're like, oh, I don't even remember getting home. It's because you're so used to that routine that you don't really need to think about it. So in the store, sometimes when I enter and I start to get really bad anxiety, I get so clouded and so just in my brain and in my anxiety that it's difficult for me to think about, okay, where am I going next? What am I doing? So I just follow my list and I just go through the same routine and order that I do every time so that I don't have to use as much of my brain. And I know that sounds terrible, not use so much of my brain, but anyone who deals with anxiety knows that sometimes when you're having really bad anxiety, your brain tends to shut down and you don't problem solve well. So, this is just a tip that I've learned and used because I just find it really helpful, and it doesn't add to my anxiety. All right, guys, so this brings me to number 3. Have a list. Oh my goodness. This one, I don't dare anymore go to the store without a list. Having a list, whether short or long, has helped me tremendously. I don't know how many times. I don't even care if it's only 2 items I need or 1 item. I will write it down in my phone on my notepad because then if you forget or you're anxious or your mind is elsewhere, you can look at your list and know exactly what you're getting. And I make my list pretty detailed. So, for example, say I need a couple different fruits. I write down what fruit I need and exactly how many, because sometimes I'm making a recipe or I need it for my daughter's food, and I want to be prepared when I'm at the store, because then I know exactly what I'm getting, how long I'm going to be there, and where at in the store I need to go. And then if I forget something, I'm not having anxiety. It's not adding on to my anxiety, because I can just look at my list and be like, okay, I already planned this out at home when I wasn't having anxiety. So list, 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 list. I can't tell you how many times this has saved me from crying in the store. Number 4, bring someone with you. I find it extremely helpful to bring someone with me, because then they can help me when I'm starting to get anxiety. Maybe bring a family member, a friend, a partner. Just make sure you're bringing someone with you that knows that you get anxiety and knows how to respond and handle you and help you when you're getting anxiety. Because the worst thing you can do is bring someone that's going to make it worse or make things harder on you. So, for example, I used to go to the store all the time with my mom, and now I go with my husband. And when I start to get anxiety, they know exactly what to do. They're comforting, they're kind, they're patient with me, they're understanding. They can tell and start to sense when I'm starting to get overwhelmed and anxious, and they step in and start to help me. They help me avoid, really busy aisles. They give me options, because when I get really overwhelmed and anxious at the store, I tend to kind of shut down a little bit. It's like my brain just doesn't work as well as it normally would. And like I said earlier, problem solving is really difficult when I'm feeling really anxious and overwhelmed. So, for example, they'll tell me, "Hey, if you're really having trouble, go to the car, I'll finish up." Or, if it's really not that important that we're at the store, or we don't really absolutely need what we need right at that moment, they'll tell me, hey, we can come back later. It's no big deal. And sometimes just a simple touch from my mom or husband is comforting. Like when I'm starting to feel anxious, my mom used to kind of just touch my shoulder or my back and just give it a comforting, rub. That almost like caused my nervous system just to kind of, hey, everything's okay, we're fine. And same with my husband. Sometimes he'll come up to me and give me like a side hug, or, a rub on the back, and it's just really kind, and it just kind of helps me remember that I'm okay and I'm gonna get through this. Number 5, avoid going at busy times. Now, I know that this can be difficult sometimes for some people. It's unavoidable. Say you have to go after work when everyone else is getting off work and going to the store. Or you need something before the holidays and you're like everyone else that forgets something and they need to go right before the holidays. Or you have to go on the weekends because that's the only time you can go. I get it. If you can avoid these times, please do. If you can't, I understand. Now, if you have to go to the store when it's busy, the best things that I do when this happens and I'm put in this situation is I try to avoid the areas or the aisles where it's super packed. So, say you're in the produce section and it's super crowded at the moment. Go to a different area or aisle and continue with your shopping list, and then come back to the produce section, because the chances are there's going to be a window. It could be crowded maybe just for that moment, and then it'll kind of let up for a minute and then get crowded again. I know that's difficult. You can't always find those windows, but just try. You never know. Or if you have someone with you and it's super packed in an area, wait on the end of the aisle or in an area that's not packed, and then tell them, hey, I need this item. Can you go grab it? Now, if you're in a scenario where you're by yourself, you have to go to the grocery store and it's super packed, list. Have a list. Get in there, focus on your list, and get out. Do not waste time, do not linger. Just focus on your list, grab your items, and get out of there as quick as you can. Now, this brings me to number 6. the last resort. Curbside pickup, putting an online order and picking it up curbside or delivery. Now, I'm saying this is a last resort because ultimately, at the end of the day, this is not going to help you with your anxiety long term. This is actually going to feed into that anxiety because the more you remove yourself from people and the grocery store and the environment of the grocery store by taking away that and doing online shopping and curbside, you're making it that much harder for you to go to the grocery store the next time. But I understand there's going to be some people out there that are just so overwhelmed and anxious. Maybe you don't have someone that can help you. Maybe you don't have a lot of options and you're really struggling. It's okay to do curbside pickup. It's okay to do delivery. There's nothing wrong with that. I just don't think that it's a healthy long term coping solution, is all I'm saying. Now, at the end of the day, these are just tips. These are just coping skills that I have personally learned that help me over the years with my grocery shopping. Now, what has really ultimately helped me in the grand scheme of things was getting to the bottom of my anxiety. Now, when I'm having really bad anxiety in general, my anxiety at the grocery store is worse. Now, when my anxiety in general is doing pretty well and I'm feeling good well mentally, I can handle the grocery store a lot better. So, really, what you want to do is use these coping skills and tips if they're helpful to you. But at the end of the day, you need to get to the bottom of your anxiety. You need to get to the bottom of what's causing you anxiety and what's making you feel this way. The way that I started helping my anxiety was therapy. And I know therapy is not for everyone, but I highly recommend it. Seeing a professional and having them really help you get to the bottom of where your anxiety is coming from. And I know that some people have had bad experiences with therapists, but please try different ones. I've tried many therapists until I found the ones that I liked. And I'm not saying that to scare anyone. Like you have to go through a million of them to find the right one. That's not always the case. But if you have a therapist and you feel like they're not helping you get to the bottom and the root causes of what's going on, don't be afraid to try a new one. You're paying for their service. You deserve to get help and feel like you're getting help from them. So if you don't feel like you're getting help, try a different one. And I also want to remind everyone that I'm not a health professional, I'm not a therapist or a doctor or nothing. I'm literally just sharing my personal experiences with how I have learned to cope with my anxiety at the grocery store. So, if there's something I didn't mention that helps you with easing your anxiety at the grocery store or helps you cope, please leave it in the comments. You never know who it might help. Maybe you have a really good tip or something that helps you and it helps someone else. And also, too, I would love to see these comments as well because I'm always open to trying new things and experimenting to find the best coping skills possible to deal with my anxiety. So, to anyone watching this, if you have really bad anxiety with the grocery store, please do not give up. There's hope. It can get better. I used to have such bad anxiety. A few years ago, my mom was living with me and she would go to the store every Sunday. And my anxiety was so bad that every Sunday I tried to go to the grocery store with her and I would have a full on breakdown, anxiety attack, crying, and it would just take up my whole Sunday. But I tried every Sunday because I knew that I could not let this stop me from living my life. And really, what helped me was going to therapy and getting that resolved. And, just experimenting, paying attention, observing what helped me, what didn't, what made me feel better, what didn't. And then, of course, finding support. So, moral of the story, please do not give up. Do not give up. It can get better because I successfully go to the grocery store now every single week. My anxiety is not as bad. I am getting better at it, and sometimes I even go by myself and I don't leave crying. So there is hope. It can get better, and I just don't give up. Anyhow, guys, thank you so much for watching my video. I really, really hope that something I said maybe helped you, or maybe something someone puts in the comments helps you. I just really want, other people to be happy and healthy and learn how to cope better with their anxiety like I'm trying to. So please subscribe if you're interested in seeing more videos in the future. And bless you. And I really hope that you overcome your anxiety with the store. And real quick note, if you're interested in watching my weekly videos, I do have a weekly video that I put up every Monday at 11 a.m. where I give you guys a sneak peek into my journey and learning how to overcome my anxiety and bipolar disorder. So if you're interested in following my journey, please check it out.